Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ageless Rock, a channel for those who can see things from a megalithic perspective. I am pretty sure most people are unaware of the fact that Sumbawa is a land of megaliths. But if you plan to have your vacation in Sumbawa, you might want to add 1 week just to see all the megalithic sites. Sumbawa Island is in the region of Lesser Sunda. This is an island that will not get a second look if you don't know much about what this magnificent island has to offer. After visiting Sumbawa, you can go to Australia. It is nearer than going to Jakarta. Visiting Sumbawa without knowing Mount Tambora is almost a crime in vacation planning. Mount Tambora has a history of being a violent volcano. The violence committed by Mount Tambora is not just local but an international crime. This mountain is guilty of causing death and destruction worldwide. In April 1815, Mount Tambora made history as the world's largest sulfur producer, spewing 60 megatons of sulfur into the air in a single eruption. This eruption changed the landscape of the island, which once had a 4,300-meter tall mountain. The volcanic eruption index at 7 is the highest ever recorded in the last 10,000 years. When Mother Nature was done showing off her pyrotechnic skills, the height was reduced to 2,850 meters, and so was the population reduced by 10,000 villagers immediately. The famine resulted in another 70,000 deaths in Sumbawa. The ashes spread high and wide and caused global cooling. This event is famously known as the Year Without Summer. The Year Without Summer in Europe caused farming to come to a halt, and therefore there was not enough food for humans and animals. Cost of food skyrocketed. Since crops were prioritized for humans rather than animals, horses used for transportation also came to a standstill. Soaring costs of oats as food for horses became not economical for transportation, so a German by the name Karl von Drais invented a vehicle to replace horse. This simple vehicle evolved into what we now call bicycle. The people of Tambora vanished in a single apocalyptic event. It was this event that the West realized Tambora people were mysteriously speaking a language that is completely different from Austronesian language. No one knows how a population with its own culture and language can exist completely on its own at the base of a volcano. So, that reminds me of Borobudur Temple and many more around that area. Archaeologists tend to blame Mount Merapi as a possible reason why Javanese migrated away from Central to East Java and therefore created a lost civilization scenario that caused us to be completely clueless as to who and how Borobudur Temple was constructed. In reality, Indonesians have never moved too far from volcanoes. Tambora village was completely wiped out together with its people bearing their culture and tradition and language. But guess what? Sumbawans repopulated that area within a very short period of time. If such a catastrophic event affecting the whole world only buried a village, you can be sure Mount Merapi didn't cause Javanese to abandon Borobudur Temple. Mount Agung didn't motivate Balinese to abandon Penataran Agung Lempuyang. Mount Tambora didn't cause Sumbawans to migrate anywhere. If Sumbawans made megalithic sarcophagi with unknown ancient tools, they will not be going anywhere due to volcano eruptions. Indonesians never migrate here and there because of volcano eruptions. This caldera, 7 kilometers wide and 1 kilometer deep, is a reminder of what Mother Nature is capable of. But more importantly, it is evidence that human determination to survive anywhere is just as powerful. There is a lot of interesting facts about Mount Tambora eruption which you can read on your own. I just want to share here that there are several sarcophagi sites on the western side of Sumbawa. They are so underrated that they are not even on Google Map. The pins I have on Google Earth are accurate up to district level except for Raboran and Airenong. Let's check out the Dongan site, which is located at Pungkit village in Lopot district. According to a villager by the name Abdullah Panindrong, there are 9 sarcophagi scattered in 3 locations. They are all hard to reach. Villagers call this Batu Babong, which means doll stone. In Malay, it will be Batu Patong. I personally don't see this as an object Sumbawans would do few thousand years ago simply because they lack the necessary hard metal tools. It is a hole too small to bury a dead person anyway. One of the interesting megaliths is a human-looking carving on the rock. Although there are currently 9 objects to see, there are potentially more to be discovered on this mountainous area. Another interesting site is in Tarakin village in Kuang Amo area. This site is believed to be 2,500 years old and is extremely hard to reach. It is so isolated and hidden that even the local villagers are not aware of the exact location. It was only the hunters and those who explore the jungle know how to get there. It was in 1993, Aris Zulkarnain, the newly appointed head of cultural section of Sumbawa district, asked Mrs. Hayatun Nufus to explore sub-district of Moyohulu to find these objects to be recorded. Tarakin is definitely an interesting megalithic site to visit, but accessibility to these sites has to be properly managed for tourists to get there. At Lutok Batu Peti site within Kuang Amo area, there is an interesting object archaeologists call Sarcophagus. It looks like a rectangular hole in a boulder to me. The lid is nowhere to be found, or maybe it wasn't there in the first place. The human-looking head is the interesting feature. If ancient Sumbawans did this few thousand years ago, then they are definitely good at abstract art. A rectangular hole may look like a tomb at first glance, but there are more reasons to believe they are not tombs because they are narrow, short, and the depth varies from very shallow to very deep. Plain of jars in Laos also has jars with rectangular holes similar to Sumbawa sarcophagus. In fact, the one at Focadas Necropolis in Portugal is also similar to the one in Sumbawa. If these are tombs for someone dead a few thousand years ago, then I think they all have a problem. They all have one thing in common. They are all very good at forgetting to make the list. Interestingly, there is a petroglyph in Pucharo in Peru which I find very similar to the figure in Sumbawa. The petroglyphs on the wall of a bedrock cliff in Pucharo is very hard to reach. It is full of depictions that has yet to be deciphered. I wonder if the similarity is merely a coincidence that Sumbawans and Peruvians had the same idea of a human head, or it was done by the same unknown ancient builders who has a way of making stones soft like clay prior to shaping them with hands or simple tools. Although we tend to pass that off as human-looking face, I think it is just a zoomorphic depiction of creatures we are not familiar with. They can be found in Sulawesi and lids of giant jars in Laos. It feels like the depiction is meant to be more of animals than humans. Batu Tata is a forsaken ancient stone. From the elongated shape and the depiction of a man, this stone is meant to stand upright. This is a priceless ancient artifact lying on the ground for thousands of years. The local villagers have not considered this to be sacred and is nothing but a stone with no significance. Today, you can find this idol by the roadside at Batu Dulang village waiting for someone to appreciate. There are 7 sarcophagi at Ironong hamlet in Batu Tering village. All of them are hard to reach and no vehicle can reach its final destination. 2 of the 7 are uphill trekking and is not for the weak and unprepared. You can check out my video on Ironong for more info on this site. Raboran site is so new that it was only in 1996 proper survey and excavation began. The Indonesian did not know until 1992 when the government decided to release the information of the discovery to general public. However, this site is believed to have magical power where Sandro Achin was teaching the invincible martial art to fight the Dutch colonization. You can check out my previous video on Raboran. I am not sure about this object in the district of Moyohulu. This rectangular hole is more like something created from a boulder. Objects here are generally said to be approximately 2,500 years old. I highly doubt the people of Sumbawa were at any time in their history had megalithic culture. Look at their palace in 1933. It is all made of wood with thatched roof. The king lived in the palace with no bricks or stones. The metal tools were only good for dealing with soft materials such as chopping wood, jewelry, and hunting. It was only about a century ago King of Sanggar Kingdom had a flimsy palace in 1910, and King of Dompu Kingdom had a small wooden house he called palace. It is hard to imagine what it was like 500 years ago, let alone 2,500 years ago. You can tell from the photos that the local inhabitants were rather primitive up to about 100 years ago. To say that they were a megalithic civilization from 500 BC is highly impossible. The population of Sumbawa was so low 2,500 years ago. I highly doubt they will ever be interested in chiseling with unknown tools to make small rectangular holes for dead bodies. If you are in Sumbawa for vacation, don't forget to check out a small island with the highest density in the world. With 3,400 inhabitants in an area size of 8.5 hectares, I have a feeling everyone knows everyone in Bungin Island. Another island you might want to check out is Dangar Ode Island. The coral and its crystal clear water has a reputation of being the aquarium of the world. On a lucky day, you can even swim with whale shark. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on megaliths of Sumbawa. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Sekian, terima kasih.